Is cloud infrastructure just so hard to do? Do you have to know where to click? Do you have to master the UI? And if you're using AWS, the console is just a nightmare to navigate. And you just feel like maybe it's just not worth it. It's just too tedious. Well, if you're facing any of these thoughts, I've got a solution for you. I want to introduce you guys to infrastructure as code. It's not a new concept by any means, but it is a better way to configure your cloud infrastructure as code, and it helps with a lot of different things. So if you're tired of having that manual configuration nightmare, and it's just keeping you up at night that you have to work with AWS console or any other UI framework just to deploy your cloud and manage it, well, this video is for you. So according to a recent DevOps survey, engineers spend up to 30% of their time just managing cloud infrastructure. Today, I just want to brief you guys on infrastructure as code in case you haven't heard of it. And I'm mainly going to focus around the SST framework that simplifies a lot of this. So let's break it down. So we all know managing cloud infrastructure can be inherently complex. You're juggling services and configurations, trying to maintain consistency across environments. You also hope, your production deployment matches your dev deployment and nothing goes wrong. This is where infrastructure as code comes along. Essentially, as the name provides, you want to structure your cloud environments as code. So it allows you to break different components into manageable sections that you can easily compare and visualize to see what's going on. You don't have to jump through the UI to match parameters. You can actually quickly have at a high glance look what's going on in the parameters, and you can deploy that across. So you don't have to worry about that someone after you came with another click and changed a different parameter that you weren't aware of, and when you deployed it broke everything. It'll all be structured as code and deployed as code. So this is the one aspect of infrastructure code that I really like. So like I said, infrastructure code just makes things a little bit more simple. It allows you to define your whole cloud ecosystem or resources as code, which means it's more consistent from one stage to another. So you can develop in dev, deploy it, and test it in dev, and then also deploy that code to production. And there's going to be a one-to-one comparison because there shouldn't really be anything changing from one code to the next because you can monitor that. And you kind of get away from this one-click issues in AWS console mainly, where someone maybe changed one config for a Lambda and the other one doesn't, and you don't understand why the one's different to another, and it maybe took you 2 hours to figure out what that one configuration change was because you weren't aware of it. Infrastructure as code allows you to see this quickly. Well, why is infrastructure as code so important? Well, like I said before, infrastructure as code can allow you to spin up stages or production environments very quickly and easily that are also consistent with what you expect. But you can also do versioning control. So I can update, for example, I can have a test Lambda, deploy that, and actually iterate on that. And with my iterations, I can use git control, git versioning to actually keep the versions of my Lambda in sync. So if I do make a breaking change, I can always revert back. And that's really great. And the next thing is you can also work as a team. So again, versioning control allows you to do that. So if there's other resources that need to spin up based on that one, you can copy it across. Other teammates can then iterate on it and then commit it into the main branch. And then you can deploy that into your staging and then maybe in your production environment. And lastly, I think the most useful thing is you can also destroy your cloud environment very quickly. So you can spin up very big resources and say you don't actually need it. It's just in a quick few commands. That whole infrastructure can actually get deallocated and destroyed, which means you're not charged for it. So if something took you maybe, a few minutes to deploy, maybe using through the UI, if you had to delete it, you have to go to each individual resource in the right order to destroy it. And that can take up a lot of time if you've never done it before, but infrastructure code just allows that a lot easier. So I've talked a lot about infrastructure as code. I just want you guys to really think of it. And if you are developing your own applications, I really highly recommend you take this approach. It just makes your life a lot easier, especially in the long term. Or if you're trying to grow your company or your team, it just allows you to scale a lot faster. So I'm going to talk about SST and why I think SST is a really great infrastructure as code. There are other tools like Terraform and Pulumi, which is actually SST is built on top of, but is a little bit more, you need a bit more knowledge on how to use those frameworks. And you have to manually configure every bit of the application precisely or know what you're doing from a very detailed level before you deploy. There are guides, but it's got its drawbacks. So I'm going to focus on SST. Okay, let's start off with what SST is. SST is an infrastructure as code framework, which is built on top of Pulumi mainly. And what's great about it is they've taken a lot of the research and cost optimizations, and they've gone high-level components that you can use out the box, which most organizations will need. If you're a bit more high enterprise, you might not need SST. You might already have Terraform or a more complex Pulumi infrastructure as code working already. But SST allows us small developers or smaller teams to have have enterprise-like infrastructure as code environments that we can spin up and control. If you found this interesting and you want to learn more about SST, I made a video about SST previously, and I'll link this at the end of this video. And just so you know, there'll be more videos like this coming out every week. I want to really focus more on AI and serverless technology. And I just think there's a lot of things to explore, especially with the new MCP stuff that's just come out. So hopefully you'll see that coming out in the next few videos. But thanks for your time. I'll see you the next time.